Welcome to the Beyond Cinema studio at Tiff, Tisca, Rasika, Tillotama and Anup. Firstly, congratulations on the film. It's really an epic, sweeping picture that covers so much territory, Anup, besides religion and gender issues and historical and traditional rituals. What made you want to tackle such a large topic in this way? And did it really take 12 years for this film to come together?
I didn't want to tackle such a large topic at all. I wanted to make a film about a family. But I realized immediately that if I were to put the film in the context of the partition of India, then already it would become much larger than what I thought. But this larger partition led me to look at the smaller, much more intimate partitions that happen within a family. And I do believe that the more intimate, the more secret, the more personal partitions and separations have a great role that they play in the larger separations and partitions. So if I mention, let's say, patriarchy or the issue of gender and how it plays out within a family, it has certainly larger resonances within history, and we have seen that the impact of the partition on women and how men look at them has played a great part in the making of the partition itself.
And for each of you, does it still feel like there are remnants of that partition and of that mentality that continue to influence the culture in a big way?
For me, the film was extremely personal in that my grandparents migrated from Pakistan. They were refugees in India. In fact, the very spot where we were shooting, near the Wagah border, was where my grandfather first arrived with 1,000 rupees in his pocket with a family of 6 to feed, and his pocket got picked. And I was on the phone to my dad, and he told me the spot where you're shooting is where your grandfather first landed from Pakistan. So it was an intensely personal journey, the film. But to answer the question that you were asking, is there resonance of the partition? Yes. One of the things that was that struck me out, we saw the film yesterday for the first time, and is that there's a sense of belonging that comes from belonging to a certain soil, to a certain land. There's a rootedness. And being uprooted from that land, which has been part of your consciousness almost for generations, can be heart-wrenching. And that's why I think a lot of Indians, particularly even up to our generation, we cling to property. We keep building more and more property. I don't think any other race has such an attachment to property as certain kinds of Indians do, because I think somewhere we lost that property. I know that I certainly am very attached to building houses and building property, but because somewhere my mother and my father and the generations before them lost whatever they had, homes and houses. So that sense, I think, stays with us of attaching ourselves to something which is more permanent. Now, how permanent that is in the larger scheme of the universe, one doesn't know. But that's one of the things that sort of occurred to me as I saw the film yesterday.
Do either of you want to add anything to that?
I mean, look at Kashmir, right? Which is where my brother was born. I lived there. And even today, it's a no man's land. Geographically, politically, it's supposed to belong to India, but the people there don't feel a sense of belonging. And so is the sense of partition and separation a current issue? It very much is. I grew up, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved from one state to another. Every 4 years, I forgot a language and I learned a new one. And as we traveled through, 12 different schools in various parts of India, there were so many stories of constant separation. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. And I think it's easier to live looking at it as a good thing. Otherwise, it gets quite miserable.
What's interesting about the team that you've assembled, Anup, is that it seems like education has played such a major role for each of them.
Indeed.
Like obviously with Tillotama, like you've had what do you have, like 1 bachelor degree and 2 master's degrees?
How do you know that?
I know everything. ask Tisca. She knows.
Google.
Tisca knows. And you come from a family of academics, right? Your father was a school principal as well, and yeah. See, I'm like James
Done
Lipton on
homework.
the Actors Studio. So, and then you came to acting because of your education, and probably wouldn't have found acting in this career path had it not been for that. Is it, like, what is that? Why is that been so important for each of you, that it's really kind of set the basis for the way you've been able to enter into this industry and express yourselves in this creative way?
You know, I must compliment you on that question, because that's the first time someone's taken that thread and strung a question around us. It didn't occur to us.
It didn't occur to us at all.
Didn't occur to us that there was this commonality. But I think Anup has been very meticulous in his search of actors. He was very, very sure of who he wanted. The first time he met me, he asked me a question which I shall repeat now at the risk of being beaten up once we step out of here, is that, what are you willing to do for me? He asked me the first time I met him. So I said, what do you mean? So he said, no, what I mean is, are you willing to let your upper lip hair grow, and are you willing to not thread your eyebrows? Because that's what I want you to look like in 1947. So I said, yes, that's the least of your problems. Yes. So I do sense that he wanted committed people. And today, acting is not the choice of dingbats and dodos who didn't make it to med school. So it's not those people. There's people who are here by choice. So I think we all wanted to and believed in this film and wanted to do this film. So I think that may be the reason. I don't know. That's my reason anyway. I found great resonance.
And Tillotama, for you, having gone into the education field, kind of come at, being acting, then going back into education, then coming back to acting as well. It's
wow, I feel like we know each other so well.
What makes you keep coming back? What's the power of it? What's the force behind it?
I'm the first one in my family to act, and so there's never been any connection with the performing arts. I saw a play for the first time when I was 19, and I started acting what I consider to be fairly late. So when I encountered the performing arts, it was like a magical universe. But my family, we didn't know what to do with that passion. How do you feed yourself being an actor? And I think for me, the uncertainty of that world, not knowing anyone else in my family who belonged to that world, drove me towards having an academic career, which I thought was more stable. But once I got into it, and once I studied at NYU, and my first job in New York was at a prison at Rikers Island. And I think after 2 years of doing that kind of intense work and the academic aspect of it, I wanted to go back to acting again. For me, it's a bit of a holiday. For me, it's really, it's a privilege to be an actor. It's a privilege that I can do it full time today. That my life has taken me to a space where I don't have to do 5 other jobs and be an actor. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm enjoying it for now.
And Rasika, quiet in the middle.
No, I mean, I thought it was a legitimate way to, tell my parents back home that if I was joining an institute, they would be fine with me acting. If I was hanging around Bombay, giving my pictures around, they wouldn't be. So that was the only choice sort of available. And completely on a whim, I sort of applied to acting school, and I didn't know. I just wanted to study acting, actually. That's what interested me. I didn't think that I wanted to be a star or I wanted to have big movies. It didn't even occur to me that that's what happens after you learn acting. I only found that out when I was in 3 months into film school. But I think when I was 3 months into film school, I'd pretty much decided that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And it was instantly connected. Can I go back to your question on
Sure.
Displacement, because I wanted to say something about
Absolutely.
it. And So my family actually saw a lot of displacement at several points. They were in Burma during World War II, and they moved to Rawalpindi, and then they moved from Rawalpindi during partition back to Burma, and then there was military rule in Burma, and then they had to move to India finally. So I've for a long time been very interested with the way they narrate stories from that time. It's very eerie, and it's very uncanny, and it's very there's a sense of wanting to remember, but there's a sense of wanting to remember in a particular way. And and when I read this film and the way somebody deals with the memory of being uprooted and how that impacts their life was something which I instantly connected to, and it's something that a lot of us have also experienced. I mean, with our parents' generation, so it's very close to us still.
Well, it feels very personal and feels very powerful. So congratulations, Anup, on your success with this film, and I hope it continues and we see another film from you more quickly.
Yes, I hope so too.
Yeah. Thanks
I've already got my cast ready.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations and thanks for joining us for a few minutes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.